Lesson 85 is on stem and leaf plots and histograms. And those are some pretty strange sounding descriptions there. And what these are ways to work with a set of numbers. Now we've learned about range, mean, median, and mode as methods that people who work with statistics, they use those to work with a set of numbers. In the same way, that's what stem and leaf plots and histograms are doing. They help you organize a set of numbers and kind of see how they're distributed. For example, a range, that helps you see what the lowest and the highest number are in a set. The mean, that tells you what the average is, and so on. A stem and leaf plot, that gives you a nice organization of the numbers, and then you can use that to figure out range, mean, median, and mode. Like if we have a big group of numbers, like in practice problem A, these are vehicle speeds. We could assume those are in miles per hour. There's 20 numbers there. Now that would be kind of hard just to look at it and figure out the range, mean, median, and mode. So it would be better to have them organized. So let's go ahead and make a stem and leaf plot to organize them. So what you do is you just basically make a line, a vertical line. You write stem on one side and leaf or leaves on the other side. Now what we're going to do here, the stem, that will be the first digit in each number there. We all have 2-digit numbers, so the stem will be the first digit, and then the leaves, those will be the second digits. And so just a quick glance through the numbers, you see we have 2, 4, 3, so we have 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, those are going to be our stems. Now if those were 3-digit numbers, we'd use the first 2 digits as our stems. But we just have 2-digit numbers, so we'll use our first digit as the stems. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And so the leaves, those are the second digits. And so let's just start with our 2's, and we have 21, and we have a 24, so we just put comma 4, and we can cross out our numbers that we have used. And then let's go to the bottom row, and you just read through left to right looking for 2's as a first digit, and that's all that there were. So now let's go to the 3's, and we have a 39, cross that out, a 38, cross that one out, look for another first digit of a 3, that would be the 35, so we'll say comma 5, cross that out, and that's it for the 3's. Now the 4's, we have a 47, so remember we always write the second digit down. 7, that's what our leaf is anyway. And then keep going, look for another 4, a 41 in the second row there, so put a 1 down, a 45, put a 5 down, a 42, put a 2 down, and a 47, so we'll put a 7 down, a 40, so we just put a 0 there, 43, we'll put a 3 down, 45, put a 5 down, and 48, we'll put an 8 down. And then the 5's, go back through, we have a 52, so we'll put a 2 down, a 50, so we'll put 0 down there, a 56, put a 6 down, 57, put a 7 down, and a 63 is next, so look for another 5, and we have one at the end, 53, so we'll put a 3 down for that. And then lastly, the 6's, and we saw that 63 earlier, and so we'll put a 3 down for the 63. Now what I'm going to do, just to organize it a little bit better, I'm going to put a box or a rectangle around each set of leaves. And you should do this too. And when you do that, that's basically what a histogram is. A histogram is a bar graph of a set of data. And so each of those boxes that I drew, or rectangles, you could think of those as bars. Now, let's just go ahead and make an XY axis over here and make a histogram or bar graph, and we'll make this vertical instead of horizontally like it is. And so what we do on our x-axis is we can start with a 20, 30, 40, 50, and then make another tick mark for 60. And then we need to have on our vertical axis, this will be how many times each leaf occurred, or the most number of times the leaf occurred for that particular set. So like in the 20s we had 2, in the 30s we had 3, in the 40s we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's our largest set there, so we need to make our bar graph at least 10 high on the left side, just so we'll have enough room for everything. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tick marks. So now what we do is in the 20s group we had 2 speeds in the 20s group. So we make a bar up to the 2, over, and down. The 30s group we had 3, so we make a bar up to the 3, over, and down. The 40s group we had 9, so we go up to the 9, over, and down. The 50s group we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we'll go up to the 5, over, and down. And then the 60s we had 1, so we just go over and down like that. So a histogram, what that does, that gives us a nice visual picture of how our data was distributed. We can easily see there that the 40s range, that was the most, the speeds occurred the most frequently in the 40s range. The stem and leaf plot, that helped us get our data organized into groups of 10s. Then we use that to make our histogram. Now a stem and leaf plot, that helps you figure out some of those other basic statistical values in a set of numbers, such as range, median, and mode. It doesn't necessarily help you figure out what the mean is, because either way you can figure out the mean just by adding all those numbers up, dividing by 20, since there's 20 numbers, and it doesn't matter if they're in groups or if they were like in their original set. Now it does kind of help you see what the mean would probably be, because the mean is usually around the highest bar, the longest bar in your stem and leaf plot, and so the mean is probably in the 40s region. It does help with the range though, because now you have your numbers organized better from lowest to highest, and you can quickly see that the lowest number is 21 and the highest is 63, so your range would just be 63 minus 21, and that would be equal to 42. So that's the range. The median, that would be the middle number in the set of numbers. We know we have 20 numbers, so it'll be an average since it's an even number of numbers. We'll have to average the 10th and the 11th number. Now what we have to do is figure out what leaf has the 10th and 11th number. So just start counting from the 2's on the stem. We'd have the 1 and the 4, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's in the 4's range, or the 40s range. So we need to organize the 40s range from lowest to highest. And let's just go ahead and do that. We have a 0 in there, and a 1, a 2, a 3, and then we have 2 5s, 2 7s, and an 8. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 digits. That's how many we have over there in our stem. And so we've got all the digits in order now for the 40s range. Now we're starting with the 6th digit out of all, or the 6th number out of the 20, because that's what we start with in that 40s range. So we have the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. 10th and 11th are the same. They're both 5s. So there's our median is 5, or 45. Remember, we have to add the stem digit back on. So the median is 45. Now the mode, that's the number that occurs the most number of times. And that's pretty easy to find too if we just look through our leaves and we just find second digits there, or leaves that are the same, and that'll tell us that that's a mode. And so we look at our 2's stem, there's nothing the same there, and nothing in the 3's and the 4's. We have 2 5's, so that's a number that occurs frequently, as well as the 7's, 47. Those occur twice as well. And then look in the 50's range, there's nothing the same there, and then the 60's is just one digit. So it's bimodal, we would call that. 45 and 47 are the modes for that set of numbers. So a stem and leaf plot is just a way to organize a set of numbers better, and it lets you kind of visualize what's happening there, which set or which group of numbers occurs the most number of times. Histograms are basically like a vertical representation of the stem and leaf plot, or they're also called bar graphs. And then once the stem and leaf plot is made, it's easier to figure out values such as range, median, and mode. And it's helpful in giving you an idea of what the mean or average of that set is, because that's usually the stem that occurred the most number of times. It's usually going to be somewhere within that particular stem. And there's a lot of other things once you get your data organized that you can do with it, like you could figure out what the percentage of people were that were driving less than 40 miles an hour, or what the percentage were that were driving greater than 40 miles an hour, or things like that. So when you organize data like this with the stem and leaf plot, there are a lot of different operations you can perform on it once you get it organized. And that's why it's important to have methods to organize sets of numbers like this. Scientists use them all the time to help them organize their data. Otherwise, they may just have a bunch of numbers and they can't really make any sense of them. So they use tools like stem and leaf plots and histograms to help them organize their numbers, and that helps them think of other questions that they might want to ask based on those numbers. Okay, well that's all for Lesson 85.